Today in this video, we're going to complete an edit from start to finish by going over the concept introduced in the previous videos and introducing exporting, rendering, and sharing. You will be provided the source files and the step-by-step guide to follow with the video to apply those concepts and skills that we've actually learned in Premiere. Let's first start by opening up Premiere. So once I open up Premiere, I'm going to go ahead and create a new project, and I'm going to name this project Nelson Practice 1. Okay, so we click New Project, and right here I'm going to put Nelson Practice 1. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to choose the location where you're going to save your work. I'm going to go ahead and save it in my Documents folder. And now you go ahead and select your location. In terms of the other parameters, we're going to keep these settings the same. We're not going to change them. We'll see some more about these settings specifically in the last video. And once we do that, go ahead and click OK, and we will get to our editing workspace. Okay, the first thing we're going to do in our workspace, we're going to create a new sequence. There are usually two ways to create a new sequence. One would be to go to File, then New, and then click Sequence. And the other method would be to use the shortcut. The other method would be to use the shortcut keys, which are Command New on a Mac or Control New on a Windows, where New stands for in. As you can see right here, which this is the shortcut. I'm going to use the shortcut key, Command in, and it's going to apply the parameters to create a new sequence. Again, we're going to keep the parameters the same. We'll take a little bit more at these different parameters in the next video. But once we do that, I'm going to click OK. Sequence. So now that we've opened up Premiere, we've created our project. The next thing, and we created a sequence, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to import our video files. Now, like I said, you should have received the files, and we're going to use these files to create a basic, it's a 20-second project. So remember, there are two ways that we import files. The first method is to go through File Import, or we can use the drag and drop option. So I'm going to go ahead and use File Import, and then I'm going to select my folder, which is called Source Files, and I'm going to import that folder. And now, as you can see in my project manager, all of my shots and my music are now in that folder that we're going to use for the edit. Okay, so let me explain the video files that we're going to use for this edit. This scene has 5 different camera shot perspectives, and we're going to edit using all of them to create a storyline. For the purposes of this tutorial, I've selected the scenes that you should include in your timeline and specified the specific time selections that you will select in the source monitor using the in and out functions. While you would typically do this on your own in editing, this will give you some more experience in using the editing platform, so that when you start editing, you'll have some knowledge of how to do so. Each shot has several takes of the action. The basic storyline that we get from this finished product is that the woman is walking towards the man and handing him a piece of paper, which he then looks at, and then she walks out. So we have 2 wide shots, 2 close-ups, and 1 insert clip. The insert clip shows a close-up of the woman handing the man the paper. And then we also have a drone shot, which we're going to use to establish the location. So the basic lineup of how we're going to edit, we'll start with the drone shot, and then we'll cut to the wide shot, and we'll cut back to the close-up, and then cut to the insert, and then go back to the wide shot. So for our next step, what we're going to do is we're going to set our in and out points for each particular clip. Now, on the step-by-step guide, I have specified the specific times that you will use to set your in and out points for each clip. So let's go ahead and do that now. So what I'm going to do is that First, I have my drone shot. I'm going to double click that, and I'm going to go to this timing, and I'm going to create an endpoint. Now notice that you can double click and actually type in the numbers, but get some practice using the slider as well. So to create an endpoint, remember we select the key I, and that creates our endpoints. This is where we're starting our video. And then create an out point. We go to the timing where we want to end it. And we would create an out point. So let's do this for the rest of the shots. So my next shot I have is the wide shot. So I'm going to go to that timing, 318. Create an endpoint, and then 604. Now notice you can also use your arrow keys on your keyboard to go back and forth as I'm using here instead of using my mouse, and it gives you more control over the seconds. Our next shot is the close-up. I'm going to create an endpoint, 518. And an out point at 809. And then inserts, endpoint at 220, and then out point at 609. And our last one, white shot, endpoint at 821, 1821, and then out point at 2401. Okay, so we set our in and out points for the video. Now we're going to import these video clips into the timeline. So since we've already set our in and out points, what we're going to do is we're going to drag the video only to the timeline. Now let's just do a brief review over the source monitor again. In the previous video, we covered that we have the ability to insert the entire clip, or we can drag and drop the video clip or the audio clip for that file. We can also do what is called an overwrite and insert as well. But for this video, we're going to drag only the video. And to do that, we would select this option right here and drag it directly to the timeline. So we're going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the videos. So first we have the drone shot, then we have the wide shot. And we're going to place it at the end of the previous clip. And then we have the close-up. Then we have the inserts. And lastly, we have the wide shot. Okay. So let's make sure that we've selected the right timings. It looks a little bit something like that. Okay, so let's just go over what I did to select these particular points. So let's take a look at this wide shot right here. Now, as I said before, the videographers, they did several takes of the same thing. And basically what I did is that I scrubbed through the footage and I selected what I believe to be the best action of that particular scene. And I selected those particular points to add to our completed video. So although I knew what the basic option was, I just selected the particular scene that I thought would be best for the video. Okay, so typically what you would do in your own projects is that you would go through the scene and select the best portion of that scene that you want to include in your video. And the easiest way to do that is using the source monitor and using those ins and outs points. The in and out points are really helpful in editing. As you can see, we've already pretty much finished our 18-second video, and now we only have a couple more steps to do. But if I didn't select the in and out points and I just dragged everything to the timeline, it would take a lot longer to edit. So make sure that you're using those ins and out points to work through your editing, because it's very helpful in editing at a more quick and more efficient manner. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add transitions and effects to our clips. Now, we went over the effects panel in the previous video, and now we know that our transitions for video, they lie in the video transitions bin. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now, cross dissolve is a fade, and it would be in the dissolve area. And our step says to apply cross dissolve to video clip 1 and the last clip on the timeline to end it. Basically given that effect of fading in and fading out. So to apply a video transition, we drag and drop to the beginning and the ending, and it should fade in and fade out. There we go. Okay, so now in the second clip, we're going to apply a tint video effect, and automatically, so let's go to video effects, and we're going to type in tint, and it's going to show in the video effects. It's under the color correction bin. So let's drag and drop this video effect on video clip number 2. And as you can see, it turns the clip black and white. Now we're going to play with this a little bit, and I suggest that you play around with it as well. I'm going to map my black to red, and it changes the color, and I'm going to map my white to black. Creates an interesting look. Now, while I might not use this for an actual video, it just gives you the opportunity to explore the different video effects that Premiere has to offer, such as the tint. Now, we could actually use some other color correction options. And I suggest that you go around and play with those different effects to see what each effect does to the video. But as you can see, since I am in my effects controls panel, that all effects can be edited within this panel. So depending on whatever video effect you apply, you'll have to go to the effects control panel to edit it and see the different outcomes of the video. All right, so now we're going to add audio and adjust the levels using the audio clip mixer. So I'm going to go back to my project manager, and I'm going to add my music, and I'm going to drag it and drop it here. Now I have some sound. Let's take a quick listen. So that's really some intense music going on there. Well, what I want to do is, since we've added the audio to the timeline, we're now going to adjust the loudness using the meter in the audio clip mixer to prevent distortion. While the levels are not that loud, we are going into yellow. That's pretty close to red. So we're going to adjust it a tad bit to make sure that so this may vary on the computer depending on the audio clip that you use. So I've put it at about negative 5.4 decibels, and that should be good. Okay, that looks good. So now we're going to go to our graphics workspace, and we're going to create a title. So remember, to create a title, we use the text tool, and we select the point in which we want our title to be created, and we type in what we would like. So I'm going to put created by Nelson. And now I'm going to use the mouse tool to move it where I would like it to be positioned. Now I suggest that you go around and play with the type of text, the font, add a stroke or shadow and change the color to just get some more experience with using the graphics panel. I'm going to go ahead and change mine to typewriter. I'll change the color to say red. And let's add a stroke. And let's make it a little bit bigger. All right, that looks good. Now let's go back to the editing workspace. And what we're going to do to this title, Premiere, usually by default, it sets the text to be 5 seconds long. So we're going to use our slider tool to make it 3 seconds long. And you can see the duration changing once you start to move it. And we're going to make it 3 seconds. So once you get to 300, it's now 3 seconds long. All right, our next step to do, we're going to add some transitions to the audio and use the razor tool. So if we remember the razor tool is what we use to cut out the particular things that we don't want. So in this case, my audio exceeds the length of my video. So I'm going to cut out that particular section. So as you can see, the razor tool automatically populates to the area where the text ends. So once I click cut, now my audio clip is in 2 pieces. So I'm going to select the second portion, I'm going to delete that. And now my audio fits the length of my video. So now what I'm going to do, we're going to add some transitions to the audio. We're going to add in a fade in and a fade out. So if you remember the audio transitions, there's only 3 options, and we have a constant gain and a fade. So I'm going to apply the gain to the beginning of the audio and add a fade to the ending. And what this will do, this will fade in and fade out the audio. Now, let's just take a look at our video. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed, but just looking at the title, if I move this fader a little bit, you can see how the graphic is a little bit distorted. Well, this is a new concept that I'm going to introduce, which is rendering, exporting, and sharing our video. Rendering is used for playback to be smooth and uninterrupted. Adobe Premiere Pro creates preview renders, which are cached video files on your hard drive that allow you to play back your video in real time if playback is not smooth. So basically, when we're watching a video in Premiere, we've imported our video in our timeline, it might not be at the best quality. It's going to be a quality where the computer can handle it without it being rendered. So in order to ensure that our playback is top-notch, we would have to render our video. So there are a couple of different colors that represent different things. Right now we have the yellow bars that you can see here. And the yellow bars indicates frames for which Premiere does not have a rendered preview file. and that Premiere will render right before the playhead reaches them, but Premiere may or may not play these frames in real time at full quality. So what this means is that the video that we're looking at now, it's not in full quality, which is the maximum resolution that it was filmed in. There's also the red bar, which we don't have, which indicates that the frames do not have a rendered preview file associated with them. The Premiere will also render right before the playhead reaches them, but will not play them at full quality at all. And then once we finally render, we have what is called a green bar, which indicates that the frames have a rendered preview file associated with them, and that Premiere should have no problem playing them back in real time at full quality. And then there are also times where we have no colored bars, which means the Premiere has no preview file, but the rendering is simple, that there shouldn't be any problem playing back in real time at full quality. So essentially, when you have a lot of video, it starts to use a lot of memory up on your computer, which could affect the playback on Premiere, where it starts to glitch or not match up with audio. To keep this from happening, having a preview file generated by rendering the video will help keep it at full quality in playback. So what we're going to do, we're going to render the video. There are a couple of ways to render video. When we have a yellow bar, we would render the in and out. When we've applied effects on videos, such as video effects or audio effects, we would render effects in and out. And then when we apply effects on audio, we would render the audio. So I'm going to go ahead and render my in and out. And what this is doing, this is creating a preview file generated by Premiere to show the highest quality of the video with all the effects and transitions added. And as you can see, as it goes through all the frames of the videos, the bar turns to green, which means that we now have that cached file, which allows playback to be at a smooth level. The last thing we're going to do for this video is we're going to export and share our video. Exporting is a way of getting our file outside of Premiere so that we can use it to share, whether we share it to YouTube or Vimeo or we share it to our best friend. In order for us to actually get it out of Premiere, we have to encode this video so that we can share it. So usually when you're thinking about exporting a video, you have to think about where will the video be delivered and how will it be viewed. Are you going to upload it to YouTube and Vimeo? Are you going to burn it to a DVD? The delivery destination is very important on deciding what the settings need to be. There are lots of useful presets already pre-installed with Premiere Pro, and you can use these presets to quickly choose settings for your exported file. For this video, we're going to be exporting from Premiere Pro to upload to an online platform like Vimeo. These videos exporting settings for Vimeo are available in Premiere, and we're going to see it now. So what we're going to do to export a video, the first thing we're going to do is go to File, then Export, and we're going to select Media. So what we're going to do, since we're uploading this video to Vimeo, the best settings for web playback is the H.264 codec. So usually, and I'll suggest until you are at the next level of editing, that you use the H.264 codec, which primarily is what you're going to be using anyways to deliver your videos. So you can see it has the Facebook presets, high quality, a mobile device, Twitter, VR, which is for virtual reality, Vimeo, and YouTube. So we're going to be using the Vimeo preset, and we're going to do it at the maximum quality, which is, the maximum quality is 4K, but we're going to go to HD. And now we're going to select the destination to export our video. So this is very important, and it's a step that a lot of students make a mistake on, where they don't know where their exported video ends up going because they don't know where they saved it. To save your video, you have to double click on output name and select where you want it saved. I'm going to save it in my source files folder, and I'm going to call it final video. Now, once you select this preset, all of these settings are automatically changed to represent that preset, so we don't have to worry about that. Make sure that export video and audio are selected. If you don't have audio selected, then it won't export the audio, and likewise with the video. Okay, so once we do that, we're going to go ahead and click export, and it'll export our video. It shouldn't take any longer than a minute, depending on how much memory space your computer has. Okay, well, now our video is exported. I'm going to just save our project, and we're going to check to make sure that our video is in our source file. So I'm going to double click my folder, and as you can see, I have final video, and there it is, our completed edit. Alright, well, that's all for this video. In the next video, we'll cover some additional tips for getting started in Premiere. See you then.